Hello, welcome to episode 84 of Your Ultimate Comeback. I'm Brad, here with my co-host Raquel. How are you?
I'm good, Brad.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to have a fun conversation
We
today.
We are. Couple good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it's going to be fun. It might go sideways.
Never. Never. We'll reel it back in if it does. Yeah.
Somebody heard the podcast and thought it was funny that you and I were fighting on the last one.
Really? Who said that?
One of the clients of the weight room.
I love it.
She loved it. She goes, "This is so good. You guys are so comfortable together. You're fighting now on the podcast."
Well, it's like a brother-sister thing,
that's
for
what
sure.
I told her.
Yeah. That's good. That's how you know it's
Just stop
real.
getting on my nerves.
I
and
know.
We don't have to do that.
I know. Totally.
I have a feeling this conversation might.
No, I don't think
that
so, because I'm kind of starting to come over to your side on this one.
Yes.
I know.
So
And the
today we're going to
crowd
talk
goes
about
wild.
things like the Oura Ring and all the data we have access to and what it means and how we feel about it.
Right.
You brought it up, so I'll let you
did.
start with it. I'm
I
super
did.
excited you want to talk about it.
Well, in case our listeners don't know, but something that you know is that I am hyper focused on data. I love it.
Hyper. All capital
Yes,
letters.
that's correct.
If you want my opinion.
Yes. So if there has been some way to record or capture or, keep track of any sort of, blips in my fitness journey, I've done it at some point probably.
Yeah.
So I wore a body bug. Do you remember what that was?
I remember the body bugs.
That
yeah.
was, I think, the biggest loser.
Yeah, they made
Did
that
those.
one.
Yeah.
Super popular.
I did that for a while. I've done the Garmin's forever, the pull, all the things. But I think when Oura Ring came on the scene, I was super intrigued with that because I am mindful of all the radiation. Like I've never had an Apple Watch. I don't love if people are wearing the Apple Watch and then they've got this and then there's like 9 different things that they have.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of radiation to have in your body all the time. And I was told that, and maybe this is not true anymore, but that the Oura Ring had one of the lowest amounts.
Even the Apple Watch has a pretty low amount.
It does
from
it?
what I've read, from what I've seen.
Okay, maybe it's more of the AirPods that people use that aren't so great. That
and even those don't have a ton. The problem is if people leave them in all
constantly,
day.
yes. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. Like I wear the plug-in ones.
Me too. Old school.
Yeah, I'm super old school too.
Yeah.
I actually, because I used to speak about this a lot when I would travel speaking, and I met a guy that was an expert in EMF, electromagnetic frequency radiation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what he said is that, like, for example, if your phone is on your head,
Yeah. No bueno.
it's blowing you up.
Yes.
But right there, the amount of radiation I'm exposed to has been reduced by thousands of %.
Yeah.
He's like, so just keep it off your body and you're good.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Although things have gotten even because we get very annoyed if things aren't super fast and immediate. So I think these things have gotten even stronger.
But still, it's when it's on you, that's when you're really experiencing it.
Right.
Every foot away from you it drops dramatically.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So like my phone being,
over there
2 feet away from me, I'm probably not getting much exposure to that at all, if any. So because there's a lot of neurotic scenarios around that too. And
I'm one.
hyperfocus around that.
I've got my body well chip on my phone and my computer, and that helps to mitigate that.
Yeah.
Or so they say.
So they say.
Yes,
right, yeah.
but you know what? I'm down with that placebo effect.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the Oura Ring was something that I've had since I think they first came out, and I just recently got my 3rd one because my other one was getting kind of shabby. And I love the metrics that it shows me. I really do. Now, at this point in my life, while I'm doing the peptide journey, maybe not the best case scenario because it shows so many things. But I was watching this little video on YouTube because I was curious about what this person was going to say about the Generation 4 Oura Ring. And one thing he said that I thought was really great, and this is what made me want to chat with you about this, and I sent this to you, was look at the large variations, not the small changes. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's so good because I am one to go, oh, that changed a little bit, that changed a little bit. So that's great to remember. And then he also said, don't let the ring tell you how you feel, or don't let the data decide. If you get up and you feel good, if it says, oh, you didn't have a great night, don't fall into that hole, that abyss. So, but I think that can go 2 ways. I think people are really good at wanting to push through things also. So I could see it be, there have been times when it has said, chill, sister, and that's good for me to see that. But it definitely is a slippery slope. And I am one of those persons that takes, which is why I didn't eat red meat for 30 years, because I read a book about how terrible it was. So I go to the nth degree on these things.
Yeah.
So I'm just someone that's kind of tends to spin out with a lot of information.
You're not the only one.
No, I know.
That's one of the reasons why I don't wear them anymore.
Yeah.
I don't ask clients to wear them anymore.
Yeah.
Because it creates a lot of neurotic response. Like I have athletes that wear them. I have athletes, I'll tell them, okay, 3 days before your game, take the thing off.
Right.
Because if they woke up game day and that number was wrong, it was over before the game even started.
Yeah.
Like they were checked out. Like, oh shit, I'm going to suck today. My whole life's over.
Yeah.
What if it got a bad reading?
Yeah.
Like, so I tell my athletes, 3 days before a competition, like take those things off.
Right.
You're not allowed to look at them and nothing matters now.
But conversely, I've seen people that have them and it could say, you could get a 48, like you need to rest. And they're like,
yeah,
who cares? So there's that side of it too.
Yeah, but I like the idea of looking at it from more of a global approach.
Yes.
How I learned, I got introduced to somebody that was really into it. It was a tool to prevent catastrophe.
Okay, that makes sense.
It was not a tool to determine day by day what was going to happen. And this was back for the Omega Wave, which was the very first one that ever came. I think it came from Sweden. Like it was like a $30,000 machine you had to wear.
Yeah.
It's a great way to prevent catastrophe.
Sure.
It's not a great tool to judge day by day what you should and shouldn't do.
Yeah.
Like one thing, I don't know if a lot of people understand this, but like heart rate variability, yes, you get a reading first thing in the morning, but it's happening all day long.
Right.
And it is changing all day long.
Yes.
And sometimes the what looks like a bad change is because you're creating a process for a good change.
Yes.
Like, for example, we were talking in the gym the other day, you were worried because your HRV was lower because you started the peptide.
Yes.
And I told you, I said, well, you know that as soon as you're done exercising, your HRV is lower than it was before you started exercising.
I didn't know that.
Does that mean it's a bad thing?
Yeah.
No, the body's creating a response to create change. And so, you can't look at it minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day, like, oh shit, my whole life's falling apart. Or my whole life's great today because of what my reading is on my apparatus.
Yeah.
And then I bring into question a lot of the accuracy of these things. Like these ones off the wrist and the finger, they're saying they're super accurate, but when you look at the gold standard is the chest strap.
Okay.
That's the one that is closest to, is it the EKG or whatever?
Oh, okay.
That one is like pretty darn accurate. You start looking at the wearables and how accurate they are compared. I think it's the EKG. They're like, especially the higher the heart rate gets, they get really inaccurate. Like sometimes up to 20, 30 beats inaccurate.
Oh, wow.
And they're getting better over time, but if you're basing everything off the heart rate and you're wearing these wearables on the wrist or the finger and they don't match well to the EKG, well, guess what? I'm going to question the data that's kicking out because if it's all based off the heart rate.
Yeah.
And, let's say you exercise real hard one day and it gets really inaccurate throughout that. Well, I don't know. So I'm super questionable the accuracy of them all.
Yeah.
And they all come out and say, we're the most accurate. But at one point, I wore 3 of them at the same time. And I got 3 different answers every single day.
I'm sure. Yeah.
So my question is, which one was right?
Yeah.
I won't say which 3 I wore, but the 3 really well-known ones.
Yeah.
And I got 3 very different answers every single day onto what my recovery was, what my sleep was, and all the other information. So it's like, okay, well, you're all super accurate what you say, but you're all kicking out 3 very different answers.
Yeah.
Which one's accurate?
Yeah. Well, I have that. My 8 sleep bed also gives me data.
Right.
And it's always different than my Oura Ring.
So is the 8 sleep bed right? Or is the Oura Ring right? That's why I like to look at it.
I just focus on one.
That's why I like to look at it from a catastrophe standpoint.
Yes, that makes sense.
Like, so if you watch one and you watch it kind of granularly over time, you can start to see trends of, is what I'm doing working or not working? But they're longer trends, I think.
Right.
And you can start to see, like with an athlete, when you're starting to bury an athlete. Yeah. But it takes a few days. Sometimes it looks like, oh shit, they're going down.
Right.
And nope, and they bounce right back. Then they say they're fine.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, it's like 3-4 days and it's going bad. Okay, now we got a problem. We got to back off a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't even take like a, today's a bad day. I don't really even look at that anymore either as an issue. Now, if we stack 3 days in a row that are bad, okay, something's going on.
Yeah.
And then at that point, that's when, if somebody's just determined to follow it and use it, that's when I'm like, okay, let's back off. Something's not right. You're not recovering well. You're overly stressed.
Right.
Because I don't know about you, but one of those things, I remember I would wake up, if I got a great night's sleep, great energy, didn't wake up at all throughout the night. I look at my device and it's like, you slept like shit.
Yeah.
You're up
I've had
8
that
times.
happen a couple times. Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Well, I will say though, there have been times when I wake up and I don't feel great, and then I look and it's like, yeah, that's because you were like you said, up several times. You were very restless, and it's giving me and then I'm saying, Brad, I don't think I should come in and work out today.
Yeah.
I've liked that for those instances because it kind of, it gives me validation to say, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
Whereas that used to be really hard for me.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, in general pop situations like that, I'll say, okay, take the day off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you're an athlete and it's our off season, we only have so long to work with, I'm telling you, get your ass to the gym. We're going to get our workout in, and then we'll do things to help you recover.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like general pop, when it's just, we're training constantly all the time.
Sure.
And you wake up, you don't feel great, HRV is low, recovery bad, like, okay, take the day off.
Yeah.
But if we have a fine window of time to create a great result, I'm going to tell you to get your ass in the gym, and we'll figure it out from there. Now, if the next 3 days is still going bad, then I'm going to give you a day off, and we're going to go do some more aggressive things to recover. I like looking at the trends over time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's personally how I like to look at it. And I'm at a point now where I get a lot of questions about this. What do you think about this? What do you think? Oh my God, this number is down. It changed like 2 points. What does that mean? I'm like, fuck, I don't know.
So I'm not the only one?
No, you're not the only one. I think these things make a lot of people pretty neurotic.
Am I the worst? Am I the worst? Be honest. Be honest. You can tell me.
Oh God, yeah.
Really? I'm the worst of everyone you have.
From a neurotic standpoint on these things, yes.
I am? Okay.
You drive me nuts sometimes.
But you love
You're
me.
getting under my skin the other day at the gym.
I know. We were almost having a fight.
Well, because you're like, I don't think I like this. Okay, get off. Well, no, I want to get off. Okay, then stay on.
No,
well, maybe I should get off. Okay, get off. What do you want me to tell you?
But you know what? What you see is what you get with me, Brad.
Very true.
I don't, I throw it all out there. I'm going to be very honest about how I feel, what I think, all the things.
Well, and I like that. I always know where you're at. That's why.
Exactly.
Okay, and that's one of the reasons I trust you when you tell me I don't feel great. Yeah. My recovery's really bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should work out. Okay, don't work out.
Yeah.
Like, because I know you're not being a wuss.
No.
I know you're watching everything.
To that point, okay, we met. It's going on 4 years. This fall will be 4 years.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this the other day, and this kind of might segue into it. 4 years ago, I think my energy levels and what I was able to handle volume-wise as far as teaching, taking classes, doing all the things was greater than it is now. Would you say that's accurate?
I think that it could be accurate. Uh-huh. But also what I see is people in those high-stress states are producing a lot of cortisol. Yes. Which creates a big drive of energy. Oh. And you can maintain that for a long time before you crash.
Okay.
Yeah. So I
wonder if that's what.
Yeah.
Because I keep thinking I'm wanting to pare back even more now. Yeah. And I'm happier with that versus 4 years ago. Okay. So that's 56. I was 56, right? Yeah. And I'm thinking, wow, is it that much different being 60?
Well, back then, I think back then because of how you were on a cortisol run.
Oh, for sure.
Like you were in a fight or flight, dominating. And like I still catch myself at periods of time where it's like, oh shit, I'm crushing. I'm getting all kinds of shit done. and then I'm like, oh shit.
That's the methamphetamines.
Just adrenaline and norepinephrine, all this stuff. Like it drives me. Yeah. I just can't sustain it as long anymore. And then I crash.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah. So.
But I'm also not trying to either. I think back then there was in my head, I was still thinking, I want to do all these things. Yeah. I want to check all these boxes. I want to do spin class and teach my class and then go work out. Yes. And now I'm like, hell no.
Well, yeah.
Hell no.
I think the more we get in tune with our bodies, I think if a very challenging situation came up where you were forced to create a lot of energy for a long period of time, I bet you would handle that way better now than back then because you have so much more reserve.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think now you're at a place where if life happens and shit hits the fan and you got to survive, you have a lot more reserve now. You would handle it a lot better than you would have back then. Yeah. Back then you were on the edge of tipping.
I didn't even know it.
Yeah. You're just going. Yeah. That's a sign of kind of being stuck in fight or flight.
When you're working at a place like we were that reveres that is. Oh, look I'm on the leaderboard. I'm number one, and I've got the most crowns or whatever in the hell that, I forget what the metric was, but oh my gosh, it's hard to get out of that. It's hard to step off of that and say, oh wait, I don't need to be that. Who cares? Yeah.
I'm pretty excited right now. Like at the weight room, I have a number of clients there that they just turned 50, and of course they have their 40-year-old picture and their 50-year-old picture, and 40-year-old picture was doing all that stuff. 50-year-old picture is not doing it. It's focused on rest. It's weightlifting. It's lots of walking. It's managing stress. They look so much better.
Yeah. Stephanie's one.
Stephanie's one. Yeah. A lady named Jody's another.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, just kicking ass.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Like it's phenomenal. So just looking dramatically better because they're managing their energy better. They're managing their reserves better. So they're managing the hormone. They're managing everything better versus just trying to crush themselves to force a look.
Right. But we've been told that, Brad. We've talked about this so many times, but ad nauseum. But it's true. That do more. Yeah. You want to look better? Do more.
Yeah.
Eat less. Do more.
Yeah. I think every person gets to a point that is on that path where they realize they can't.
Yeah.
And that's when people start to freak out.
Yeah. Like, what now? I'm doing all the things.
I'm doing all the things and I'm getting worse. Or I'm getting weaker. Or, my body fat's going up. Like, and then what more can I do? What more can I do? I'm like, fuck, that's not the answer. I'm cussing a lot today. I'm sorry.
Why?
I don't know. I just noticed I'm dropping A to Z bombs.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah. It's frustrating and hard.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't want to hear the answer of, you got to learn how to rest. You got to learn how to rest. And we are not good at that. Especially.
No, but the people in the industry that we're in, or the people that are the overachievers in the industry, you're right. We absolutely don't.
Yeah.
And it's, I love this industry so much, as I know you do too, but there's so much of it that I don't love.
Oh, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of it that I really struggle with.
Yeah. And and I think the light has been shined on it for me now more than ever.
Yeah.
But I struggle with, okay, how much, when do I have to walk away from this? When are they looking at me like, you're fucking 60, you're done?
No, they're not. Like, you're very motivating to people.
I hope so.
Don't we can't look, no 20-year-old guy wants to look like me, right?
What do you mean?
Well, no, I'm just saying.
I disagree with that.
No. I mean, maybe they're out of shape, but they want to look like the guys on steroids that are all jacked up. And trust me,
you think?
Yes, I know because I have conversations all the time.
Okay.
They're not coming to me for advice. They're going to the guy that's jacked up on steroids because they think big and jacked is what the women want. Only in my experience of that, only people that care about that are.
But then the twig and berries get really small.
I don't know about that. I never did that shit, but. And I mean, I don't think any man really wants that risk.
No.
But I guess some of them don't care. But
I think you're right.
Because they think when they look all jacked, like they'll get all this attention.
Yeah.
It's like women being skinny when they're young. Like men think if they're super big and jacked but really the only person that cares about that is the other big and jacked dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Well,
and like when a woman gets too skinny, guys don't like that typically.
But
there are some women that like the big jacked dude.
But women, I think, I could be wrong, but I feel like women like to appeal to other women more than men.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? So
when you
I'm
get to these
skinny.
extremes,
Look how skinny I am, and the other women go, "Yes, how'd you do that?"
When you get to these extremes, like for women, super skinny.
Yeah.
That's for other women, not for other guys. And guys, when they get super jacked, that's for other guys, not for women.
You're right.
Because when you get to those extremes, the opposite sex doesn't like it.
Yeah, you're right. No, at times in my life when I've been more lean, my husband is like, "No, I don't want to feel like I'm in bed with a guy."
Yeah.
He doesn't want the six-pack abs.
Yeah.
Like,
if you're
really?
more
Why
chiseled
not?
than I am, I don't like that. If you're making me feel fat, I
you're
don't
right.
like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, I like when women are fit, but
but you want a little curve. You want a curve here and there.
Yeah. If your body looks like a 14-year-old little boy, that's not hot.
Yeah. But see,
maybe to some people, but
I'm sure that women in your life would say, "Oh, no, Brad, you're just saying that to make me feel good."
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. But I don't know. We women are whack. I know this.
Yeah.
We are.
Yeah. I like trust me, I like lean, but there has to be curves there.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Like you said, you don't want to look like a 14-year-old.
I'd rather have too many curves than not enough curves.
Yeah. And see, that statement, most women would cry bullshit. You're just saying
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Say it louder, Brad. You'd rather have more curves than stick.
Yeah.
You don't want to stick.
I would rather have too much than not enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
I believe that.
If your body looks like a 14-year-old little boy, that is not hot to me. That is not attractive to me. I just, I don't know. That's just me personally.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Like I like fit, but with some curves.
No, and I think you're probably like most men.
All the guys I know feel the same way.
Yeah.
And they all would rather have too much than that 14-year-old little boy body. I don't know one body that thinks that's a good look.
One guy, you mean?
One guy. Sorry.
Yeah.
What did I say?
You don't know one body that thinks that looks good.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I don't have one buddy of mine.
Buddy was what you're trying to say. That thinks that's good.
Likes a 14-year-old little boy body.
I mean, like you said, there's probably some fringe people that
there definitely are.
Yeah.
There are some fringe people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But by and large, and I've always said that this also about women in general do things we dress more to impress other women than we do. At least I do.
Yeah.
I know that sounds silly,
Yeah.
but it makes my day more if a woman comes up to me and says, "You have great style. I love the way you dress."
Yeah.
If a guy says that, I'm like, "Yeah, whatever."
You don't know.
You don't know.
It's funny. I sometimes get like women come in I'm training their boyfriends, husbands, whatever. Like, hey, you need to mellow out a little bit. Like, it feels like I'm laying on a rock when I'm resting my head on it. I'm like, I don't really like that.
Really?
Yeah. So
they want a little cush too?
Yeah. They don't want like super jacked.
Interesting.
Majority from my experience.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I don't know. It's
okay.
It's weird to me, but
yeah.
I don't know how we got off on that tangent.
I don't either. But, this whole thing about trying to track everything and be on top of it. And I really wish I knew where that came from in me. I really do.
The other type of tracking I see create neurotic scenario that doesn't really create results is calorie counting.
Oh, well, do people still do that?
All kinds of people still do that.
Wild.
Yeah. My favorite question is, have you ever looked into the whole calories out, calories in, like what it really is?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's almost impossible to figure out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Because just simple things like, from a caloric burn standpoint, you got to know how well someone actually breaks down and assimilates the food they're eating in regards to caloric intake. If you have somebody that doesn't have good digestion, they're not digesting a lot of the food they're consuming.
Oh, right.
So I remember at one point in my life, my enzymes that break down carbohydrates were like almost completely depleted from stress. My blood sugar was like crazy low. Like the doctor's like, "How are you not in a coma right now?" I'm like, "I don't know. I feel great." I said, "I'm eating I'm eating a ton of carbs."
Yeah.
And what he found was that I was consuming a lot of carbs, but assimilating none of them. So
Interesting.
So like it was having zero impact on me.
I wonder if that's similar to like I'm an A positive, and I guess that type of blood type doesn't, but not metabolize. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah,
red meat as well, some proteins as other things.
Yeah.
So that's why I have to do a lot of digestive enzymes. I wonder if that's kind of a similar scenario.
The whole blood type thing, there's a lot of controversy around.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. So I think that's another one where sounded really good.
Yeah.
Looks really sexy, but, I'm an individual. I think people like knowing there's an individual plan for them.
Yeah.
But from I haven't read a lot on it, but I've heard a lot of discrepancies around it.
But I would think that there might be something to that.
There
just
might
generally,
be. Yeah.
that blood types
I'm sure
are
there's some
different.
stuff, but I don't know how accurate it really is at this point. Yeah.
Well, having not eaten red meat for 30 years and then starting 3 years ago, wherever it's been, some people are like, "How do you feel? Do you feel so much different?" I can't really say
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't think I felt bad then, but I will say I think it's so much easier to try and hit protein goals.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because if you're just eating an egg and a piece of fish, you got to do a lot of that.
Yeah. An egg with the yolk only has 6 grams of protein.
I know. So I do 4 in the morning, and that's still not that much.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a constant. I don't know. Sometimes I think no brain, no headache. Wouldn't it be nice if we didn't care about all this stuff?
Well, and I find when people eat like unprocessed real food, it's almost impossible to overeat that stuff. So the only way it's really, I think, doable to overeat is if you're eating a lot of fast food.
Yeah. Did you ever see that Super Size Me movie?
Yeah. Yeah, super wild.
Right?
Yeah.
Wasn't he eating 3 meals a day from McDonald's?
Yeah, but I know a guy, Dr. Jade Teta.
Yeah.
He did something pretty cool that hardly anybody knows about compared to like Super Size Me. Is that he said, "I don't think that was McDonald's fault. I think it was his food choice fault."
Oh.
So he did 30 days. He did nothing but fast food like that.
It wasn't specifically McDonald's.
It might have specifically been McDonald's, but it was something like that. So he was only allowed to eat fast food for 30 days. But what he did was he either had, it was protein every meal, and then it was either a high carb, low fat meal, or a high carb, low fat, or high fat, low carb meal.
Okay.
He separated the fats and the carbs.
Okay.
And then didn't drink soda.
Okay.
So he'd have like breakfast. He'd have a couple sausage McMuffins, no bun, a cup of coffee, and some water.
Okay.
And then dinner would be like 2 hamburgers, ketchup only, some fries, and tea or water or something like that. And he ended up losing weight and body fat.
Really?
Over the 30 days.
But don't try this at home, kids.
Yeah. So I'm just like, so what he thought with the Super Size Me was every meal the guy had protein, high carb, high fat, high sugar.
Yeah.
That's a recipe for metabolic disaster.
Sure. I think he was going extreme, though. He
went ham. It was literally high carb, high fat, high sugar, protein every meal. And so I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Why I was fascinated by that is because I used to travel a ton on the road. I have a lot of clients that travel on the road, and it's really hard to eat on the road. Geez, tell me. Yeah, so what I learned was, hey, look, if my options are fast food restaurants where my hotel is or where I'm at, I didn't have to go ham. I could still go and have a decent meal and survive it. My first year on the road was horrific because I didn't understand any of this.
Yeah.
Then after that, I was able to maintain on the road, no matter what I had access to food-wise. No, okay, this is going to increase my inflammation. I'm going to have some issues with it. But when I get home, I'll clean it up.
Yeah.
Made it a lot easier.
And probably having that attitude helped.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, when we traveled to Alabama for the NCAA finals for Quinn, the first meal I had in Alabama was at the Waffle House.
Oh, I like the Waffle House.
Do you?
Yeah. I am not afraid to go have a fast food meal.
See, I just feel so crappy. Don't you feel crappy?
But I know it's not going to change anything if I have one meal here and there.
Okay, fair.
So, I don't stress over that.
Teach me your ways, Brad.
I don't. We'll talk about
Obi-Wan,
it more. We'll talk about it more in the next episode.
Please help me, Obi-Wan.
I've just learned. I think it was there was some book that I read. What was it, Why French Women Aren't Fat or something like that? Okay. It was a kind of an ironic book, but they don't have food guilt when they eat.
But also their food is better quality.
Correct.
Right? Their bread is not with 10,000 ingredients.
Well, but that's not why we're afraid of, we're afraid of carbohydrates or fats or things like that. They don't have the shame or the guilt around food. And I can't remember the name of the book. I'll have to look it up. But what I've learned is that if I'm comfortable with myself, we'll talk more about this stuff in the next podcast, but if I'm comfortable with myself, I'm not beating myself up because I'm eating 2 cheeseburgers, fries, and a Coke. I'm like, hey, I deserve this. I can take a little break. I can enjoy this meal. It doesn't have a negative impact on my body composition, any of that stuff. I think we get so hard on ourselves, so focused on, I got to be fucking perfect. I think that's the biggest, most horrific message our industry has sent. You got to be fucking perfect.
Yeah. Well, because we're shown, air quotes, perfection all the time.
Yes.
And it's very easy to do compare and contrast in that scenario. So and you know what? I think about this a lot as I've grown up in this industry, I will say, about there's never been a time that I was like, yeah, that's it. That's perfect. I'm exactly where I want to be.
Yeah.
There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
And
I think one other issue too is that we don't deal with a lot of hard things anymore.
That's true.
And so we're creating this chaos because we don't have hardship as much anymore. So we start spinning out and creating stress on stupid shit.
Yeah.
If you really think about the human body, it is this amazing fucking tool.
Oh, absolutely.
That is meant to survive hell. But we don't really have to survive hell anymore.
Right.
So we're so focused on crushing ourselves to look a quote unquote way that's actually not super healthy, that will not survive hell well. So we're actually running around these bodies that look a certain way, but cannot handle when shit hits the fan and they got to survive.
Yeah.
If we fucking ran out of food or got to the point where we had to go out and get our own food, we would be fucked.
Yeah.
I think the leanest people would struggle the most. Have no body fat to function off of.
No, true. You're right.
Again, I've had 2 situations. I had a super high level CrossFitter that came to me and crazy talented, but kept bonking out. And so he never did well in the games.
Yeah.
I came, did his body fat. It was 3%. I'm like, bro, you're too lean.
No.
He goes, no. I'm like, you have no reserves to function off of.
Yeah.
I said, we got to put some fat on you. He's like, what? I'm like, if you want to be great, you got to put some fat on you.
Right.
And so I got him to be unperfect and start eating carbs and having some ice cream and eating kind of shitty foods. And he fucking started crushing it.
Wow.
I had a Navy SEAL come to me. Shows up for Bud, super lean and fucking struggled.
Wow.
And dude, you got to put some fat on you to go survive this shit. You have nothing to run off of.
Right.
You have no long-term energy to run off of. Fatten them up a little bit, kills it. Sex drive comes back, all that stuff.
Nice, okay.
We have this perception that if I'm just ripped and freaky looking, I'm the superior human being. And it's that is the farthest thing from the fucking truth.
Right.
You're great, you look incredible. Great, you can train hard. Great. But I throw you into a shitstorm in life and you're not going to handle it very well. I fucking take your caffeine away and your drugs away because all of a sudden we don't have access to those. Yeah. You're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
It's super interesting. Like when you go back and look at like the olden days strongmen that were way stronger than we are now, they don't look like how we look.
Yeah. No.
They're not as lean as we are, but they were freaky strong.
Yeah.
I've been around a lot of special forces. They're not super jacked human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, your guys are like crazy lean.
Right.
But holy shit, they can survive the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they got a lot of mental fortitude, but they have these bodies that are built to just go. And they're not huge human beings.
Yeah.
A lot of them are like my size or smaller. I'm shocked. Like, I mean, there's some of them that are big, but usually the big ones, that's the funniest thing you talked about. Like, start asking stories about going through their selection process and like, oh yeah, it's always the biggest dude that rings the bell first.
Really?
It's the dude that walks in all tatted up, bad looking dude. That dude always rings the bell first.
Wow.
Taps out first. Can't take it.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. So I don't know.
All right. So the long and the short of it is wear your Oura Ring, but don't flip out.
Yeah. Track your data, but use it for long-term trends.
Big picture, not small. I like that. You know what? Just reading that when I was watching, well, not reading it, listening to it.
Yeah.
That video today, I thought, okay, I can do that. I can kind of pan out. I'm going to pan out is what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Look at it like 30 days at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to pan out.
If you are following HRV and you see a couple bad days in a row, okay, you know what? You're probably going the wrong way. You got to make some changes.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't think people need to like nitpick the nitty gritty of, oh shit, I just did this and my heart rate went up a little bit.
Well, that's what
went down
happened
a little bit.
when I was doing that damn glucose monitor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but you know what? I aborted mission on that pretty quickly. I was like, this is not what I need to be doing right now.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. Beauty.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.